Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. Hope you're enjoying the show. Just got done talking women's basketball down in the South and Millsaps, and now we're going to go out and talk to another team out in Southern California, though not in the midst of the Oscar glory. They certainly have their own glory. We talked about them at the beginning of the show, the Caltech women's basketball team winning their first game in 64 years, and of course winning our SCIAC game, first SCIAC game in 64 years, and of course back-to-back games as well. That ends a 5-year drought in that department in conference action. And so now we are joined by Sandra Marbut, the head coach for Caltech. We appreciate her taking the time out of her way. Coach, I know it's a big thing for you guys. It's certainly big for basketball, but 2 wins back-to-back for the first time. First off, ending a 64-game losing streak in the conference to start with, but also getting back-to-back wins for the first time in 5 years. The men had already created a buzz. I suspect on Caltech it has taken on a whole nother degree.
It has. We had a great turnout at our game last night, and it's always not surprising. It's always so satisfying to see our students come out because they're a little discriminating. It's physics set or basketball game, physics set or basketball game. So it's great to have the gym full of folks and see lots of support for our team, and lots of support despite a season where it took us a while to get some traction beneath us. Yeah. So. It was a good night all the way around. Yeah,
big wins over Laverne back on Wednesday and then or Tuesday, and then a win over Occidental to follow that up. And of course, both of those being home games. The men had already kind of created a little bit of a home advantage with their wins, and now you're following right up on those heels. The men couldn't beat Occidental, but you guys got the win, so at least you know that maybe coming into Caltech territory does not necessarily mean you're going to get a sweep.
Yeah, I think that you very much have got it there. That has not always been the history in our program. I know when I started back in 2003, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion for other teams that they had virtually won the game before they got on the bus, and we've been making some real great strides and working really hard over that time period to change that. And today. It's a tough place to come and play. You know that our kids are going to be ready to go, and they're going to play hard. One thing we get a ton of compliments and a ton of comments on, every coach we play talks about how hard we play right up to the end, regardless of what's on the scoreboard. So, our kids are going to come ready to do that, and we've got lots of people in the stands, and just the layout of our facility puts a little bit of volume in the gym and makes it a great atmosphere to play in. So we were very happy with the support we got from the campus community. We had the president there. We had I think most of the vice presidents there. There were a lot of who's who on the Caltech campus in those stands cheering us on and making sure that the ladies had the support they needed.
I think that's the most important part of this, Coach. It seems that, while you get the students on campus maybe creating a little bit of buzz, the administration is starting to take notice. And a lot of that has changed. New athletics directors tried to change the mentality. Of course, the new coaching staffs that come in have been trying to change the mentality. But if you're getting the president and vice presidents showing up to games because they want to take the time to recognize these student athletes for what they're doing, you've almost already won.
Yeah, it has been a purposeful effort. Dr. Jean-Louis Chameau, who left us, I think, 2 years ago now, really got that ball started when he came onto campus saying, hey, we don't need to be the lovable loser. We can do better than that. And it may take us a while to get to a place where every night we compete, but that's the direction we want to move in. Being smart and being athletic don't have to be exclusive of each other, and being a world-class campus, you want to attract the best students. So often some of the best students are ones who have other things that they value as well. Sports is absolutely one of them. So we started that a number of years ago, and then as Betsy Mitchell, our athletic director, arrived 4 years ago, she was able to really take up that charge and kind of carry it into the next phase. And then recently, as Dr. Rosenbaum has joined us, he's been hugely supportive of that. We've we've had great support on campus, and as you can imagine, a campus like Caltech, there's a lot of things going on and a lot of distractions. As if I can call it a distraction, it's their primary business, science. Mm-hmm. We're often the distraction, but it's good to see people get out of their comfort zones and come over across campus and share in a different part of student life, because it's important for our kids. It's important that they be as good as they can be at their endeavors. So we've been really excited to see the support we're getting on campus from, the top to everyone campus wide. There was a lot of orange in the gym last night, and it wasn't only students. There were a lot of people who came back on a weekend to share part of their day with us. So it was great stuff.
Yeah, we should point out, I mean, the steps taking forward. Betsy Mitchell's the first full-time athletics director at Caltech. Of course, comes in with a ton of experience herself, having been an Olympic athlete as well, but certainly brings in a different mentality. So you can start to see that, and you're starting to see that in some of the players that the men have had and some of the players that you guys have had. Stephanie Wong leading the way on the stat column. She's one of a number of juniors, but you also have one senior who's been through a lot in the last 4 years. This team, and on a whole, has seen a lot, and these back-to-back wins have got to put more than a smile on their face.
Yeah, I believe there is way more than a smile on their face. They're seriously excited and lots of great energy. And you referred to our senior, Bridget Connor. Mm-hmm. I think Bridget is every coach's dream, and she gets that the season is built after we're done. She puts in the time from March to October to get ready, and would make time to be in the gym and shooting. Some days it was an extra 15 minutes worth of shooting. Some days it was an hour and a half. And Bridget's the kind of player who whatever she chooses to do, she does seriously. And so it was fantastic to see that hard work pay off. This was one of her goals. This was one of the things that she wanted to get accomplished in her 4 years, and it took all the way to the end for her to experience those conference wins. That had been her goal for a number of years now. And, we had a really ugly outing at Pomona last Saturday. It was not where we wanted to be at all. And much to Bridget's credit, she, gathered her teammates up, and I can't cite word for word because this was a team-only, no coaches kind of gathering, but I believe it was something along the lines of, come on, you guys, we're better than this. And they rose to the occasion. We had great practices this week. So, lots of credit to the kind of player that teammates can get behind because they see the hard work every single day. She did a great job, and we were so excited that we were able to give her this before she was done with us. Yeah,
certainly significant for her. Of course, the other big key to this whole, of course, she hadn't had a SCIAC win in her playing career. You guys had won a game last year, but just not in SCIAC action. Of course, she's a chemistry major, which is already outdoing the rest of us. You're a chemistry major at Caltech. But then you have Stephanie Wong, the junior, and several other juniors, and you got some sophomores on this team. How much does a win streak like this, the fact that there's a player like Stephanie Wong, who's the fastest to 1,000 points in program history, although a small program history, we'll talk about that in a minute, but how much do the back-to-back wins and success that you're having from these underclassmen kind of maybe even heat up the recruiting trail just a little bit?
I think that they are going to really use this as a springboard, and I believe they are going to use this to create a lot of energy and a lot of really concreteness around, hey, we have a formula that works. And it took us a while through the season. We made some choices strategically back in October looking at our very, very sparse roster about how we were going to approach this, and it was kind of an all-in, like, okay, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it really well. And it took us a while to get some traction with that. We finally did, and I think it finally started rolling. And I think the thing that these returners are going to be able to bring into next year with hopefully, we don't find out for a couple of weeks, but hopefully a nice little group of freshmen is like like, hey, we know what works, and playing together as a team works. We talked all season about we have to be greater than the sum of our parts, which I might add is a hard sell to science and
Sure.
math kids, because that equation does not add up.
Yeah.
But that we had to do it as a team and be greater than the sum of our parts. And Stephanie Wong has come up big. We knew when she came in as a freshman she was a program changer for us. She's come up big in the last couple of games, all season long, been very consistent, and then really, kind of went to town on Wednesday night. She hit the three-pointer that put us up with 7 seconds left on the clock against Laverne, and then came up massive last night, 31-point night with 7 threes, and none of them were anything other than the decisive, this is going in the basket the second it left her hand kind of shot, so it was great. And she kind of leads our junior class. And then Kate Lewis has been just spot on all year long. She's averaging 18 points a game. She's leading the SCIAC in scoring, and she's been fun to watch because she was out for, I believe, 8 games with an illness last year. So we really didn't get to see the completeness of what she had, and then boom, all of a sudden, here she has come this year with, gosh, just an amazing season, 20-point games, 28-point games, just very consistent through the year of bringing us big points and giving us that element of the outside game with Steph hitting, long range, the inside game with Kate pounding it in, and not even just the power game, just a finesse game at the rim that has been really a lot of fun to watch. And I cannot forget to mention in the supporting cast that they've had. Stephanie's younger sister, Michelle, plays for us and has done a fantastic job as a defender and a distributor. And, Esther Dew stepped up last night especially and really took control of the tempo of the game. And our bench, Kristen Anderson and Mary Boyajian and Annie Chen went in and did the things you need role players to do, went in, didn't get fancy, did exactly what they know how to do well, and they did their job at the right time, the right way. So it was an amazing team effort, and they all came together to give Bridget those wins. So we're pretty proud of them.
You only have 9 players on this team, but it's not like you guys have been out of the discussions when it comes to a lot of your games. You look through the thing, UC Merced was a 16-point game. You took on Milwaukee Engineering as a 1-point loss at home. Johns Hopkins the next day, or wasn't at home. It was at home, sorry. The next day against Hopkins at Claremont Mudd Scripps, it was a 13-point spread. You were within 7 against Whittier back in early January. Occidental Laverne, the first time you played them this season, Occidental was an 11-point game, 8-point game against Laverne, 6-point game a few nights later against Pomona Pitzer, 15-point game against Kalu, and now you get these 2 wins. It's not like this team hasn't been competing all season, and while the season's nearly over, you have 1 game left. I suspect this is the kind of thing that you can really ride this momentum forward.
Absolutely. We have been in it in a number of games. We do have some fluctuations, and I think that one of the things at Caltech that's always going to be a factor is, we've got some academic fatigue that manifests on the court in ways that many other teams just don't, face up against. The last time we played Occidental, we had 6 of our 9 kids who hadn't actually slept that night. We're pulling an all-nighter with an especially hard problem set. So, we've always got those kind of those wild cards that pop up on us every now and then. But we've been in it a good portion of the season, and we've been going forward with that in mind. We've been practicing, the last second shots. We've been working, how do we get a shot off? How do we make sure that we find the best possible shot, under 5 seconds on the shot clock, under 10 seconds on the shot clock? So we've been really purposeful about the preparation for being in this situation, and it paid off big against Laverne. I admit that was a little bit of an unexpected game when we played Occidental in round 1. We felt like, hey, we had some extenuating circumstances that left us a little tired. That was our all-nighter episode that left us a little tired, so we weren't able to reach our best. Yet when we played Laverne in round one, we came up with a pretty great game, so we were like, okay, we're not sure if we can, do that again. We felt like we could get it close, but the idea of being in that game for the win at the end was just something that, we hoped, but we weren't sure it was going to materialize, and there it was. And so all of that work paid off big, and then we were able to build on that going into Occidental and really come in feeling confident and feeling strong and going, you know what, we can do this, and we've been working for this all season long, one step at a time, but this momentum has been building, and let's go finish this off. So we're pretty happy about it. We're pretty happy about how it came together at the end.
Well, congratulations. Got one more game to go at Chapman coming up here on Tuesday. It'll be a big game, obviously, for you guys to try and keep that momentum alive. Chapman would certainly, the wool will not be over their eyes in any way, shape, or form. They're going to be ready for you guys. But, of course, the last time you guys played, I can't even find the game. There it is.
Yeah,
it didn't go very well.
No, and I think we definitely, of all nights this season, that particular night was a night that we saw the effect of 9 players on the roster. Carol at Chapman and I are good friends, and we talk a lot of basketball and in the off season, and we have lunch frequently. And we talk about things, like that. And the last time we saw them, you could see the moment at which the fatigue just took over, and we expired in what we had in the tank. So, and I think Carol's aware of that and knows that. And so the final score is not quite indicative of what happened that night, because we were in it, and we're there, and then, wow, it just kind of went beyond, no more fumes left for us to ride on. So I know that Chapman is going to be very serious about how they approach the game tomorrow, very respectful. They're not taking us lightly. They're not assuming that anything is done. They're going to they know they have to battle for it, and I think we're ready to get in there and battle for that as well, and say, hey, our goal last night was to play well. Our goal Wednesday night was to play well, and we really didn't talk about winning until it was literally like, okay, now it's time to talk about this because it's real. We went with the idea, we want to play solid, we want to play well, we want to build on what we've done, and I think the game plan stays exactly the same going into Chapman. Let's finish this up with an outing that we can be proud of, that we can say, hey, we did a good job, and whatever happens is going to happen. If we do a good job, it's going to take care of itself at the end of the night.
Quickly, before we let you go, we should point out, we talk about the men's basketball team. We got record marks back in the 50s and 60s, et cetera, et cetera. We don't have that with this women's team. This is a very young women's program. You guys really have only been around since, we're not even 20 years yet, even as a club program. So these wins and these momentum swings and the development of this program maybe even has more significance for you guys.
Oh, absolutely. We are going to celebrate our 20th season next year. The program started in 95 as a club program, and we took a couple years for us to become an intercollegiate program. And in fact, we didn't actually get to be a full member in women's basketball of the SCIAC, despite our institution being a founding member of the conference, because they needed to make sure we were going to be solid and stick around. And sure. I think they started in actually participating in the conference in our sport in 2001. We don't have the deep tradition of the men, and yet we have managed to have some little spots of success and really kind of build on the ups and downs, the peaks and valleys. We've done this a couple times. We had some back-to-back wins a few years ago, and then, I think the recruiting part of it, finding young ladies that are intelligent enough to consider Caltech. There are not a plethora of young women still in the STEM fields, although our more recent success in the last couple of years is certainly reflecting a more national and societal surge towards encouraging young women to be a part of the math and science fields, and to encourage them to have a balance, to be academic and to have an outlet, and to navigate their way through these very difficult classes that we have on campus by having an outlet of taking care of their body and getting out and doing something for themselves beyond the schoolwork. So I think we're benefiting from that. I think we're benefiting from some recognition on campus of, hey, our student athletes make incredibly positive influences and contributions to campus. We've got kids on our team that are the social director for the student body. We've got kids that are very active in Title IX. We have them. Our SCIAC president is Kristen Anderson, one of our players, and so we stay very active in campus. I think half of my team are admissions tour guides. So I think that we recognize the value that student athletes and the leadership that student athletes can bring a campus, of any kind of campus, and especially a campus where, we spend a lot of time in laboratories. And so when they come out, we want to be able to have a great exchange and interaction with them. And I think our young ladies are doing a fantastic job of that, and it has helped the growth of our program with a very young history where there are not a lot of college, even today, there are not a lot of college basketball programs that are only 20 years old.
Sure.
And even on the women's side, I was fortunate to play in college, and, that was a lot longer than 20 years ago. So... Yeah, and we occasionally came down to Southern California and played against some of these schools. So I know that many of the programs have got a much richer, or not even richer is not the right word, longer history than our program, and so we're unique in that way. We're still babies in the women's basketball community, and we're working hard, and we're continuing to build, and one step at a time, and we'll get where we want to be.
Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us here on the show and talking about your team. Great to get your insight on what has certainly been an outstanding week so far for the team, but really a great season in many ways as well. Again, have that game coming up against Chapman. As always, I will give the coach the final word. Any final thoughts you'd like to share with those who may be tuning in?
I just want to make sure that I express how proud I am of our group. It has definitely been a journey. When we were sitting in October looking at the first day of the season and not actually even having enough young ladies to scrimmage, you kind of go into the year and buckle up and say, hey, we're gonna make this fun. We're gonna enjoy the academic and athletic combination and merging of these two great pieces of a college experience. We're going to set realistic goals, and we're going to take days one at a time and see what we can get done. And then to hit our stride in January and really start to get our mind around what is possible was a great point. We had a lot of momentum going, and then the fatigue of early February. Mm-hmm. I think every team in the country deals with that these first couple weeks of February because kids are tired, coaches are tired,
yeah.
And I come home and I think, oh, I'm tired. They've got to be tired. What are they feeling? And to see that all, that the peaks and the valleys and the context of the season come together in these great, very, very team-focused, everybody on board, everybody getting things done, wins, is really satisfying. And it's one of the reasons that I think a lot of coaches do this, to be a part of that wonderful college experience for young people and see the growth and see them kind of fight early on with, I don't know if this offense is what I like, or I don't know if this defense is what I like, but to get that opportunity to see that really come together at the end and them all on the same page and all, moving towards the same goal has been pretty spectacular and just reaffirms to me that the 20-plus years I've spent doing this has been a pretty good decision.
Sure.
So thank you. Often when you're on the losing end, very few people are looking to talk to you, and I think the losing teams often work probably harder than most people would imagine just to kind of keep their head above water and to survive. So thank you for taking the time to recognize, the work that these young ladies have done. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time as well. Good luck against Chapman, and hopefully we're talking plenty more Beavers basketball in the future.
Thank you very much.
Sandra Marbut joining us here on the Hoopsville Hotline. Appreciate her taking the time to do that.